Jagged, Jam Masters. There are many different aspects of your being. The path starts with seeing those aspects clearly, objectively, and making some basic decisions. First, you have a body. You have to take care of it. If you don't take care of it, it gets sick. It's not comfortable to live in. You can't always take care of it. There are things that happen to it that are beyond your control, and you have to learn to work with that as part of having a body. The body's not there for your enjoyment. The body's there like a robot to allow you, the consciousness, to experience this plane of reality. If you didn't have a body, in fact, forget the body, if you didn't have senses, you wouldn't know this world was here. Just contemplate that, all right? 5 senses, take them away, there's no world for you, period. Sight, touch, smell, taste, sound, whatever, hearing. Do you understand that? So literally it wouldn't be here. So believe it or not, the purpose of your body is to house the 5 senses. How do you know what's the purpose of something? Take it away and see if there's still something there. If I take away your 5 senses, your consciousness, you're in there, right? You are in there, right? Okay? You're an aware being. You're conscious. You wouldn't know this was here. There'd be no way for you to know, period. It wouldn't be here for you. Therefore, the most basic function of your body is to house the 5 senses. Now, that's not the same thing as saying the purpose is to enjoy the senses. The senses have a purpose, not to get you off and get you excited and do all kinds of weird things, okay? Taste food and do this and do that. That's not the purpose. There's nothing wrong with that, so to speak, but that's not the purpose of the senses. The purpose of your car is not to hit people. It can do it. Everything has a purpose. The senses have a purpose. The purpose of the senses is to allow you in there, the indwelling being, to experience the reality of this plane. So now, what about the rest of the body? It's unbelievable to do it, because it's so beautiful. The entire rest of the body is about housing the senses. What do you mean? Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take away all your bones, your skeletal structure, and you will be a blob lying there, the senses looking up. Okay? They won't see, taste, smell, or hear much. They're like a plant. They're just in one place. There it is. So because you have a skeletal structure, you can stand upright. And because you have a skeletal structure, you can move. No. The skeletal structure makes it so you don't collapse when you move, but the skeletal structure does not make you move. What does? Your muscular system. So because you have a skeletal structure, and because you have a muscular system, you're mobile. You can get around. You can see different things. You can experience more of the world than the plant does. That is literally the purpose of your muscular system. That is the purpose of your skeletal system. Well, why do I have a circulatory system if that's the purpose? Because your muscles and your skeletal are not made of rocks. They're made of living cells. OMG. Did you know that? They're made of living cells. They need to eat. They need air. They need to excrete. They do everything that a living organism does. Well, how do they eat? They don't come out there and graze. They can't do that. So food has to get to them. Oh, I've just covered the digestive system. What does that mean? Food, energy is out there. It comes in. How? Well, okay. So I eat the outside world. I swallow it. I know it can taste good or bad. I understand that. But that's not the purpose. I swallow it, and then as far as you guys are concerned, that's the end of it. No, that's the beginning of it. That's the beginning of the purpose of your stomach. The beginning of the purpose of those organs, digestive organs, that they can literally break down the food into tiny, tiny little particles. But how does it get to the cells? Oh, I have a circulatory system made out of cells. Oh my God, this thing's an amazing thing, isn't it? I hope you respect it. There's a pretty amazing thing going on there. Right? All is there to house the senses. If there was not a body, skeletal, muscular, digestive, this and that, they all die instantaneously. What about respiratory? The cells need oxygen. So it comes in and then it breaks down with those little villi, whatever they're called, and it's a small area, and then it gets distributed through the circulatory system. But what about the excretion? Well, there's an excretory system. What does that mean? That doesn't just feed the cells. There's another part of the circulatory system that takes the excretion out, and like your body is there to stay alive, to house the senses. What's the nervous system? I've left it out. It is what's attached to the sensors. You guys are into computers. They're not senses, they're sensors. Don't you hook sensors up to your computer with USB or this or that, okay, or Wi-Fi, whatever it is. And it can pick up things and send the message back. That's what your nervous system's for. It's there to pick up the senses and phone it back. It actually digitizes them. It's similar to digitizing them. It turns the physical world that hit your eardrum, that vibrates, and it picks up the vibrations and passes them up the nervous system, so they come into the brain, and that's where you receive them. You're back here, and then, at the console, all right? And you're receiving all this stuff. Isn't it an amazing system? Maybe you should have some respect for it. Okay? No, seriously. Like, I'm sorry, I've trained my mind to think like this. If I'm taking a shower, which I do, periodically, I'm telling you, if I take a shower, I'm very aware of what's going on. This body, which houses my senses and gives me the ability to experience this plane, needs to have the pores open, needs to be clean. That's what you're doing for it. You're participating in the health. When you eat, you don't eat for taste. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with things tasting good, right? But properly, you eat to feed your body. You don't eat to feed yourself. You don't need food. You in there? You don't need food. You're just conscious. But the body needs food. So you try to eat a diet that is harmonious. Doesn't have to be strict. Doesn't have to be perfect. I never teach diet, do I? I don't teach any of these things. You're on your own, guys. But, if you pay attention to what's going on, you try to put food down there that gives it health. When you chew your food, you're doing it for yourselves. You're not doing that for yourself. They need you to chew it so that when you swallow it, it can break down easier. And then it does its work, but you don't have to do it. It does it all by itself. I think I've covered all the systems except for one, the reproductive system. If you think it's miraculous, I was talking about so far, that is doing that, that one is incomprehensible. Is the reproductive system there to house your senses? No. It's the only system that's not there to house your senses. It's there to clone you. Isn't it? These cells are going to die. But what leaves anything behind that can do all those things that are talked about? Holy mackerel. There's a system inside of you that can clone you. Just two individual cells unite, come together. Now what? You do nothing. Those cells know how to take food from the circulatory system and from the respiratory system, and then divide themselves and multiply themselves and make a liver and make an eyeball and make a kidney and make a pineal gland, which I don't even know where it is, and make a body by themselves. I know you like to think you did it. You did not do it. No, seriously. You did not do one single part of that. You can screw it up. Just drink enough, smoke enough, get yourself unhealthy. It could make a mess. But other than messing it up, it's doing its own thing. Answer me now. Is that true or not? And is that not miraculous? Okay, that's your body. How about a little respect? Let's shoot it up with heroin. No, I don't think so. Let's go for what feels good or what tastes good. No, that's ridiculous. Why would you do such a thing, right? You've been given this gift. Is it a gift that you have one of those? Wow, it's a pretty amazing thing you got there, isn't it? You can respect this thing so you can make conscious decisions that help it be healthy, that help it do its thing. And if it gets not healthy because different things happen, it's an amazing world you live in. There's doctors and hospitals and naturopathic healers. There's all kinds of stuff. It should take your breath away. It's unbelievable. Well, you get down to the point where you understand there's different aspects of your being. I just had a nice discussion about one aspect. That's one aspect of your being, your body. Is that the only aspect of your being in there? No. You have this thing called a mind. Is it part of your body? No, it is not part of your body. It is not made of cells. The body is a physical matter. It's made of physical things. The mind is not made of physical things. You also have an emotional body. Anybody notice? Can it be a pain? And can it be a joy? Yes or no? Okay. Can the mind be a pain? Can it be a joy? Okay. The body can be healthy. The body can be unhealthy. Which way is better? When the body's healthy. Which way is better? When the emotions are healthy. Which way is better if the mind is healthy? They're yours. You were given this gift. Like I told you, I don't care if you believe in God. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's just a word. How about we come down to dealing with reality, that which you don't have to believe in, that which you know is true. You have a body. I just told you about it. O-M God. O-M-G. Well, let God come in there. O-M-G. That a single cell makes a baby by itself? I don't care they understand DNA. That's just how it does it. Where did that come from? Oh, atoms pulled themselves together. What's DNA? A molecular structure. Oh, that sounds very scientific. No, it means that there are atoms that when they pull themselves together by themselves, no geneticist put the genes together, and you have a molecular structure that's just a bunch of atoms, because that's all it is, that pull themselves together to make something that can make a baby. How can you not be just blissed out and blown away all the time? We'll talk about that later, because I know how, all right? So now you have another aspect of your being. Two other aspects. Your emotional body, we call them bodies in spirituality. We say physical body, emotional body, mental body. Why? Is it a body like a physical body? No, but it is a collection of vibrations that make up your mind, and a collection of vibrations that make up your emotions. Can thoughts cause emotions? Can emotions cause thoughts? Very good. You win. You got a good grade. You know what it's like to live in there. So emotions, we'll go a little bit, and we're going to go much deeper later, but what is the physical plane? It's made of atoms. What are atoms made of? Well, you say electron, neutron, proton. Very good. Everything's made of something, correct? If you go down, right? Well, now they know that their electron, neutron, protons are made of something. They're not the most basic element, right? They're made of quarks, leptons, and bosons, subatomic particles. But what I like, and yet I don't care, if at least understand at this level, physicists today, every country, everything, say those are made of something. In fact, they don't really exist. There are not particles that make up electrons, neutrons, and protons. In fact, there are no particles. There's just waves of energy that behave a certain way and throw off forces, act that way, and then they combine together, and it looks like this is here. That is not really here. That's quantum physics, okay? That it's just a field of energy, a field, and it's funny that they even say there's a field, and it only acts like energy and passes energy if it gets activated, if something stimulates it, then it makes waves, like the ocean. A lake is totally still until something drops into it, then it makes vibrations. So the quantum fields are just completely empty until they get agitated. That's the word they use. Until they get agitated by something, and then they make waves, and the waves act like particles, and oh my God, that's the physical plane. Well, what's the emotional plane? Higher vibrations than the physical plane. That which doesn't manifest physically, but it's there, you know that. You certainly feel your emotions. But if physicist says, no, the quantum fields don't explain your emotions, they're not there, laugh. Because you're a conscious being and you're experiencing that these things called emotions. You pick up the emotions. Their instruments go all the way down to the quantum field. It takes pretty big instruments, super colliders and stuff, all right, to prove it. But they don't have anything to pick up your emotions. They don't have anything to pick up your thoughts. But you see them, don't you? Your consciousness is capable of experiencing different vibration rates, higher vibrations than the physical plane. Is that complicated? Is that weird? We have to call that spiritual or weird. They didn't used to think there were ultraviolet rays. They didn't used to think there was all kinds of stuff. You understand that? Then they made instruments that picked it up. There were radio waves. We didn't know that until we built radios. They were still there. And it's the same thing with everything. It's like we can build instruments that pick these things up, and now we say they're part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Well, there are vibration rays way beyond that electromagnetic spectrum that they will find out are your thoughts and emotions. They're just made out of subtler energy, subtler vibrations of energy. But the need is, you don't have to be subtle. You feel them all the time. I think it's really neat. Why? Because consciousness is the highest thing that exists in the universe. So consciousness can experience that which is below it. If you go high enough on a mountain, you see what's below it. So basically, what are your thoughts and emotions? Your thoughts and emotions are vibration rates of energy that are higher than the physical plane. That's all. You don't have to explain it any other way. Your thoughts and emotions are fields of vibration. That's what they are, fields of... Now they know the physical plane is fields, quantum fields, and that's really neat, right? Okay, that's what your emotions are, a field of higher vibration rates of energy. That's what your thoughts are, a field of higher vibration rates of energy. Now, I've told you what I've done with my body, how miraculous it is. What about my thoughts? Now we're going to get into some real deep stuff. But it's so easy, right? The Buddhists, especially Zen, talk about empty mind. Ever heard that word? They talk about empty mind. Does that mean you're stupid? No. If I take a quantum computer, and that's the fastest now, if I take the most advanced computer that was ever built and there's no programming in it, is it stupid? Its potential is phenomenal. It's brilliant. It's beyond brilliant. It's just not right now doing anything. But man, does it have potential, doesn't it? That's what empty mind is. It is mind, energy, the field of energy, not doing anything. Is it capable? It's beyond capable. It built the atomic bomb, split the atom. It got down to understanding quantum physics. Give me a break. Is the mind brilliant? Right? And again, sometimes you guys think, well, not my mind. That's not true. Don't compare your mind to Einstein's. Compare it to a possum. Well, they have minds too, okay? But if you have a human mind, and you do, you're here, right? Your mind is brilliant. It's brilliant. Ask a possum, 2 + 2. All right? It's like, your mind is, and how brilliant your mind is? Your body, we talked about your body, has vocal cords made out of cells. They're part of the system. And they can make sounds. Your number of sounds that you can make out of your vocal cords is phenomenal. And if you put those sounds together, they can make complex sounds, like the ones that are coming out of my vocal cords right now. That's amazing, isn't it? And all of you can do that, can't you? Then don't tell me you're not smart. That's incomprehensible. So you can put together these sounds and say what you want to say, make it come out that way. But that's not the only brilliance of your mind. Somebody else who's picking up those sounds that you made, just complex sounds out of your mouth, hits their eardrums as sounds, and their mind understands what I was saying. How hard is it for you to do that? You don't do anything. Your mind does it. You have a brilliant mind, don't you? It's incomprehensibly brilliant. Empty mind has this ability. It has the ability to create thoughts, has the ability of logic, has the ability of, when you start creating things in the mind. But why are we not saying thank you to our mind all the time? You think it's good to have a body, it's good to have a mind, because it comes down to, what are you doing with your mind? That's where we talk about where spirituality comes in. What are you doing with that brilliant mind? Can the mind think of a galaxy far, far away? Can the mind understand, at least reasonably, that we said there are complex molecules, there are molecules, there are atoms, electron, neutron, and protons, which are made out of subatomic particles, which are really emanating. You have some basic understanding of what I'm saying, don't you? So you can think of things absolutely, the macrocosm, the largest thing that could ever be. I told you the other day, last year, they found a quasar. A quasar is an emanation of light coming out of a black hole, like, I don't know, millions of light years away. That was so bright. What was coming out of that quasar was so bright that it was 500 trillion times brighter than the sun. That looks like one star when you look up there, if you could see it. That's one tiny spot in the universe. How big is this thing? But your mind can kind of comprehend a little bit, can't it? Look how you went, oh wow. You can do that, and you can quantum field. It's unbelievable. What are you doing with your mind? I told you, the body picks up the senses. That's the most basic thing it does. picks up the senses. Is it true that some sensations coming in through the senses are pleasurable, and some sensations coming through the senses are not pleasurable in any way, shape, or form? Yes or no? Okay? All right? What do you do when something comes in that's pleasurable? You use your mind to cling to it. That's a Buddhist word, clinging. You don't want it to go away. If you're eating something that tastes good, you want more. If you're eating something that tastes terrible, you spit it out. You don't ever want to see it again. Okay, so that's what you're doing with your mind. That's one thing you're doing with your mind. You're using it to store past experiences, mostly ones that are pleasurable and ones that are caustic. You don't remember everything. I mean, you can get hypnotized and everything come back, right? Your mind's brilliant. It's got long-term storage. But I'm talking about long-term storage. It keeps it there and keeps talking about it. Oh, I want to know, where'd he go? I enjoyed so much being with him. I wonder where he is. Can I call him? No, I don't want to bother him. Why? Because it was pleasurable. I wonder where he is. I don't want to see him again. Oh my God, I hope he's not around the corner. Who should I tell? I'll call the police. It's not pleasurable. You use your mind to cling to extremely pleasurable and extremely unpleasurable things. You hold them in your mind. Do they come up by themselves even if you don't ask them to? Because you stored them in there. You stored it in this brilliant mind that's capable of quantum physics and astrophysics, the biggest things that could ever be and the smallest things that could ever be. You said, no, let's not use it for that. Let's use it to store what he said just before we got divorced. I will never forget that. Oh my God, I hope I never see him again. Did you not use your mind for that? That's a bit of a problem. And now you not only use your mind for that, that becomes the foundation. You held that in there. And now you either don't want it to happen again or you want it to happen again. And do I just stay in there and let that happen? No, I don't. So that's a foundational level of mind where you're storing stuff. Then I'm not stupid. I remember, your mind's very smart. Your mind says, you say with your mind, you say, well, wait a minute. I liked this and I didn't like that. Yes, I do want it to happen again. No, I don't want it to happen again. Even if it happened 20 years ago, it's still in there. Yes or no? 50 years ago, yes or no? 93 years ago, yes or no? Wow. Pay attention to what you've done with your mind. The brilliant mind. You stored that stuff, didn't you? And it stays in there. You know why it stays in there? Because when it comes back up, you push it back down. If you have a thought about what mommy did 50 years ago, and it bothered you, and somebody says something that makes it stimulate, or you think something makes it stimulate, what do? I need to get myself back together. I need to deal with this. You deal with it, push it down. Make it go back where it came from. Do you or do you not push stuff around in there? Especially when it doesn't feel good. You keep it in there. And so it keeps trying to release. That's one of the great things I realized. Your mind is your friend. Your mind is not bad. It is not your enemy. There's nothing wrong with your mind. There's something wrong with how you're using your mind. It's exactly the same as the body. You want to sit there and shoot up. You want to sit there and get drugged. You want to sit there and have good feelings all the time until you burn yourself out. You will not have a healthy body, and your body will complain constantly at some point. I don't see when you're older. You may not get older. That doesn't mean you don't do anything. You treat it with respect. That's all. What does that mean? You decide. I'm not telling you what to do, but you treat it with respect, whatever that means to you. Well, the same thing with your mind. If you store every single thing that ever happened to you that you didn't like inside your mind, what's your mind going to be like? Pukey. And that's what it's doing when it throws the stuff back up. It throws it back up. Because it can't stay in there. It's energy. You stored it. So the mind is your friend. When your mind is the worst it's ever been, it's trying to throw up the stuff that you stored in there, which is the worst you ever saw. My mom won't leave me alone. It just keeps thinking about it. I wonder why. Because you didn't handle it. You didn't let it pass through. You didn't digest it. See how similar the bodies are? Are there any things that happen in your life that you didn't digest? I can't handle this. I can't believe that happened. It didn't happen. It shouldn't have happened. No way. I'll never forgive you. I'll never think about it. Don't you dare. You'll think about it all the time. Don't tell me you'll never think about it. In other words, if it can't pass through, if what can't pass through? Reality. What is reality? That which already happened. If it already happened, it's reality. It's not about right or wrong or good or bad or just. Reality is just that which has already happened. Mommy did what she did. That's reality, and it will never not be reality, will it? That's what it means to use your mind. Just like you respect your body, respect your mind. Why? Because it has to digest reality. If your mind cannot digest reality, it's going to be in trouble. You're going to be sick. How's that for a definition of why we need psychologists and psychiatrists and therapists and all that? There's only one reason you need that kind of thing, because you didn't digest the reality that already happened. What did Freud mean by suppression? You didn't digest reality. Do you suppress the white lines on the road as you pass them by? No, you don't. Unless you're a white line painter and you dribbled, sometimes they dribble, you dribbled enough times where they fired you. Now every white line that you see bothers you. Okay? So things are what they are, but you can't digest them. Reality unfolded. I don't care if it's right or wrong or good or bad or just or unjust or fair. It has nothing to do with that. It actually happened. You lost your earring. How do you know? It's not there anymore. No, yes. But I liked it. Too bad. That's what it means to use your mind properly. The mind is there to experience reality, and then it can think about it, and it can do all kinds of things. Creative. Not, I can't handle reality, so I'm going to suppress, resist, repress, call whatever you want. I'm going to resist the experience that I had. And that what suppression is? I'm going to resist the experience that I had, therefore I get to store it inside of me for the rest of my life. Very smart. Good. I didn't like that at all. I'm keeping it in there. That's what, when you get to a real bad divorce, I am telling you, you will be so sorry. I will suffer for the rest of my life because of what you did to me. There will not be one moment that I'm not suffering. You remember that. Congratulations. All right? It's mind. It can do whatever you want. We show that. It can go into the infinites of space. It can go down into the subatomic particles. It can do anything. And this is what you did with the thing. Is it not true you can make any thought you want? I want a bear. I want to see a bear inside jet. I want to see the Queen Mary ocean liner. It'll do whatever you want. What an amazing gift you were given. And look what you did with it. Sometimes people say in my talks, it feels like you're yelling at me. I am. But don't worry. I mean, the entire human race. Okay? So basically you stored garbage in there. Did the mind do that? The mind didn't do anything. The mind is a field of energy that you're given control over that can do anything you want it to do. And you didn't pay attention. Well, it's okay. They didn't teach you to, did they? Okay, we'll talk about that later. But basically, from a deep spiritual reality point of view, you're in there. When I say to you, make a boat inside your mind. Can you see a boat? Who did that? You did. Will, volition, purpose, intent comes from you, from the consciousness that's in there. And you have the ability to use your body the way you want. You have the ability to use your mind the way you want. You can meditate. That's attempting to get the mind to be quiet. Good luck. It should not be difficult for your mind to be quiet. It is difficult because you stored all that stuff in there. And so it's throwing it up. It doesn't stop. Normally, right, you work your butt off to make it stop, don't you? Go take 2-week seminars of sitting. Why would it be like that? Right? Because you broke the damn thing. You store all this garbage inside, and it's trying to release. So what you're trying to do when you meditate is trying to be quiet when it's not naturally quiet. People accuse me of not teaching meditation. I've meditated for years and years, right? I do not teach meditation. My guru does. Do I not believe in it? I believe totally in meditation. What I really, really believe in is that you get rid of the stuff that you stored inside your mind that makes it so you can't meditate. Or better yet, that makes it so that meditation is not your natural state anytime you want. That's how I want you to be. But do I have to do drugs to get there? Don't be silly. The only reason you do drugs is to overcome the garbage you did with your mind. Well, wait. Any of these drugs are drugging the mind. They're mind drugs. Psychedelics, all this kind of stuff, they're mind drugs. Well, why are you having to drug your mind? Because I got all this garbage in here and I can't handle it. So if I drug my mind, I can have a nice experience. Mazel tov. Let's see how long it lasts. And I ain't telling you not to do it. But we're just having an honest talk, aren't we? We're talking about reality. I'm not trying to pander to you, and I'm not trying to tell you anything other than that which you already know. You made a mess of your mind. Did you make a mess of your mind? Okay. Notice the you part. Your mind is not a mess. You made a mess of your mind. The mind is phenomenal. The mind is way beyond the physical body. The physical body can only do so much. The mind has no limitations. Can your mind be positive? Can it be negative? It can be anything. But you stored this stuff in there, and it's trying to come back up. And you have to stay on top of it and control it. And you have to make sure that people you meet don't hit the part of your mind that's going to come back up that you don't like. You know how you decide you like somebody? They hit the stuff you stored inside that made it feel good. I love being with you. When you tell somebody you love them, that's ridiculous. You're lying. What you're basically saying is, I love how I feel when I'm around you. And when you hate and despise and can't handle somebody, you know what it means? I can't handle what comes up in me when I'm around you. And then what you're taught to do is to hang out with people that you get along with. You know what the great yogis teach you? Hang out with people you don't get along with. Mataji, my Yoga Shakti, who gave us the yoga statue, when the first time she came here back in the 70s, she taught, she's very quiet spoken, very nice, she's your mother, a nice lady, right? She said, problems are the nectar of life. She said that probably in 75, 76. I'll never forget her saying it. I can hear her saying it. Problems are the nectar of life. Guess what? Problems are the nectar of life. Why? They hit your stuff. You know what? The worst life you could ever live is the one you want to live. The worst life you could ever live is that you get everything you want. Because you will never grow. You will never change. And I know this is so hard for you that I say such a thing. The worst life you could ever live is that you get everything you want. I'll prove it to you. No matter what age you are, 10 years earlier, you did not want the same thing you want now. What if you got everything you wanted? Got the perfect Barbie and everything, and you just played with it to your heart's content, right? And everything was exactly like you wanted. How are you going to grow? Why would you change? Problems are the nectar of life. Why? They hit your stuff. If you don't have stuff, there are no problems. There's just reality. There's just life. There's just be here now. There's just naturally experiencing the reality unfolding, and it can come in and you can digest it. Doesn't mean you don't experience it. It can feel good, it can feel bad, but you can digest it. You don't have to resist it and push it away and cling to it so it stays stored inside of you. It's not that you don't interact with life. You interact with life, but not because you're not okay. You're not interacting with life because you know that life can do things that will screw you up. And you know that life coming down the track can do things that make you feel good. And it's because you stored the stuff inside. And so now you think, what can I make life do that will make me feel better? Now go out there and struggle and worry and have anxiety. What are you anxious about? That it won't be the way I want, or it will be the way I don't want. What if you don't have a want and not want? If you're not storing inside of you, I mean, fine, I saw a snake, it scared me. Does that mean I never go hiking? Does that mean I never go to the museum or the zoo or anything? There could be a snake. There is a snake at the zoo, I tell you right now. A lot of them, all right? Why can't it be, I saw a snake, it could be scary, it was coiled, it was rattling. It's scary as hell. It's supposed to be. It's telling you, get away from me, right? It comes in, it does not feel good. It doesn't. But you digest that. Wow, far out, I just experienced something that was really scary. You go to horror movies, a lot of you guys. You go to things that are as scary as could be. Why do you do that? Because it feels funny. You go to Romeo and Juliet, where these tragedies happen, and you go back for more. Every single vibration in creation has its place. So if something's scary, it's fun. It's not fun what's happening, but when it finishes, you look at it and say, there's a rush. What's wrong with that? And you don't walk around being afraid it will happen again. You know why you're not afraid it'll happen again? Because you handled it. If you don't store it inside as negative, it's just an experience. And you experience it, and then you're not afraid it will happen again. Why? Because you know you can. How would you like to know that nothing will ever happen for the rest of your life that you can't handle? How would you like that? That'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? Well, the only reason you're not that way is you stored the negative stuff inside, and you're afraid it'll happen again. Why are you afraid it'll happen again? Because you know you can't handle it. You can't even handle when it's not happening. You're afraid it might happen. Holy mackerel. Did you make a mess of that mind? And what they teach you, that's from the 60s. I'm from the 60s, right? What they teach you is be powerful and strong, have money and power and control over things to make sure that what you don't want to happen doesn't happen. It's a much deeper teaching to sit there and say, if I can handle what happens, I don't have to worry about it. I just handle it. I don't not deal with it. When it's there, I deal with it. And if it's challenging, I love it. Why would I love something challenging? I don't know. How many of you have ever done sports? Any kind of sport. How would you like to play against a team that's 3 years old and you're 40 and you just run them over? No, I don't think so. That would not be a lot of fun, would it? You want a challenge because it brings up something great in you. That's what life is. Life is your sport. Life is your video game. And every single time you step into it, woo, you don't know what's going to happen, do you? Right? No one knows what's going to happen. Okay? Reality is going to happen. But it only becomes reality after it happened. Until it happened, yeah, you can deal with it. But you don't deal with it to avoid yourself. People say to me, but don't we have some control? You absolutely have control. But you have no control about the past. You ain't changing it. Well, isn't it pretty stupid to not like it? What's the purpose? All it does is screw you up. Isn't that amazing? The cost-benefit analysis of not accepting your past is 100% cost and zero benefit. Go make a business decision like that. See how you end up. But you don't understand what happened to me. I know, and I have compassion, and I know I probably would have had trouble too. But the truth stays the same. If it happened, it happened. And if you can't handle that it happened, you're in trouble. If you can't handle anything that happened to you, you ain't changing it. All you've done is screw yourself up. You have to handle reality. So there's two things I told you that you can't change. One, you can't change the past. And two, you can't change the exact moment in front of you that has just unfolded. It's still the past, but that's so close to the present. It's so close to the present, I have to make a distinction. So if you already said something to me, it already got said. I can't make it go back into your mouth. But I can resist it and make a mess of myself. And therefore make a mess of you. What am I going to do if you say something I don't like? It's big trouble. For me and for you. Why? Because you're out there trying to handle the future based on your stuff from the past. So somebody said, but don't I have some control? Yes, you have control. It hasn't happened yet. If it hasn't happened yet, you have some control. You do not have control. It's already happened. Not any outside control. You only have control about how you handle what already happened. But you do have control. Of course I have control over what hasn't happened yet. I'm part of the input. I'm part of the system. It's going to put input in. But the problem is that every single person on this planet, except masters, except a great being, is attempting to manipulate the future based on their preferences from the past. How are you deciding what you want? How are you deciding what you don't want? Your mind is programmed with the stuff you stuck in there that you liked and didn't like from the past. So you're not going to go out there and manipulate the future so it tries to match what you like from the past. And I'm telling you, literally, I have heard people say, no, I know he's perfect. He's perfect. Like I had a dream when I was 3, and he looks a lot like the knight in white armor that was in my dream. Oh, now your 3-year-old mind is going to decide what's the matter with you? Oh, and I saw a movie. Yeah, I saw a movie. I read a book. And this is reminding me of that. And I like the book, so I like him. He's a serial killer. The guy in the movie wasn't. It has nothing to do with that. The present and future have nothing to do with the garbage you stored in you from the past. You stored something that makes you turn on. She stored something that made her turn off. You saw a movie, you read something, mommy said something, daddy said something, somebody did. Hey, they didn't say something. Look how weird. Are you weird? Yes or no? It's ridiculous. That's what you did with this brilliant mind. Well, what does it mean to deal with life properly. We already talked about dealing with your body properly. You deal with it with respect. That's all I have to say. I won't go any further, really. It's up to you. You're an intelligent person. Deal with your body, understanding what it is and how complicated it is and what a gift it's giving you, and then deal with it with respect. What about your mind? Deal with it with respect. Understand you have this brilliant thing that without any effort can store something or release something or think of something. Oh my God, unbelievable. Can't it? Wow. That's far out, right? It's a playground. What does Microsoft say? Where do you want to go today? You don't need a computer. You have a mind. Where do you want to go today? To hell. But guess who made the mind be hell? You did. By storing all this garbage in there and then saying the world has to unfold in front of me the way that matches my garbage. You have made a royal mess of your mind. And you did it by storing this stuff. If you store inside your mind everything that ever disturbed you, what will the mind be like? Disturbed. If I pour red paint into something, it's going to turn red. Have you not stored everything that ever disturbed you inside of you? Okay? You could give me a list, couldn't you? And by the way, you don't have to give it to me. It gives it to you. I told you, the mind is trying to purify. It is not evil. It is not the devil. It is not, period. No one's is. No matter how a terrible thing they ever did, it's just stuff got stored in there, and it will not sit quietly in there, because energy cannot sit still. Just like your body tries to throw out viruses and bacteria. It tries to throw stuff out that isn't healthy for it. Does it not do that by itself? The mind does also. You have this brilliant, brilliant mind, and it's trying to throw the viruses out, like a computer virus. But you stored it in there, and it's going to keep coming back up, and that's why you have a problem with your mind. There's no other reason, none. There's nothing wrong with your mind, unless there's something physiologically wrong with the brain. But that's very rare. It really is. Okay, compared to all the suffering that goes on, give me a break. So you stored this stuff in there, and it's trying to release, and you couldn't handle what happened. You can't handle it when it comes back up. And now you go to the brilliant mind and say, figure out how everybody and everything needs to be so that I'm okay. Don't you? What job do I need? What's my boss supposed to be like? How do I get away from this situation? Why is my wife not the way she's supposed to be? No, the way she's supposed to be. What does that mean? I decided how she's supposed to be based on my past experience, what made me feel good and what made me feel bad, and now she or he is not behaving that way. Wow, far out. So you run the universe, do you? You know what compassion means? Or something like this, right? Do you understand that everybody's as screwed up as you are? They just store different stuff. So when you sit there and say, how could you do that? I stored different stuff than you did. You laugh, but it's true, isn't it? We all had different experiences. So you never saw a snake. You don't have a problem with snakes. You don't understand. But somebody else almost got bit. And they're totally different about the whole thing. All right? I told you, if your ex-husband's name was Ben, and you had a really, really bad divorce, a lot of them are that way, okay? If you hear the word Ben 10 years later, your heart closes. Yes or no? What's that telling you? You didn't do so well, did you? Okay, so either you now go out there and try to manipulate the world, which of course everybody's doing, as you know, try to manipulate the world so that when it comes into you, it's the way you want it to be, or you get rid of the stuff in there. And that's the only thing I ever have to teach you. Get rid of the stuff that's in there. If you get rid of the stuff that's in there, it won't be in there. That will happen. Reality will unfold, and now what will the mind be like? It will take it in, and at some point, this is what happens. Instead of living for yourself, which is what you're doing now, I'm not picking on you, right? It's what happens. You're the center of your universe, are you not? There's me and everything else. And everything else is dangerous, isn't it? Isn't there you? And then there's everybody else. And everything else. You're getting quiet. Do you understand what that means? I know it sounds terrible. It's called ego. That's what this is. What happened is you made such a mess of your mind and your emotions and probably your body that your consciousness can't experience its nature. It's distracted by your mind. Is your consciousness distracted by your mind? Is it distracted by your emotions? Is it distracted by your body? Well, the great ones teach that when consciousness is not distracted by these things, it knows its nature, and its nature is God. It is the creator of the universe, who you are. Woo! true. So therefore I can make it be whatever I want. No, that's not the you we're talking about. But the consciousness itself is the greatest thing that ever was, all right? But what happens is, I told you, you've made a mess of your mind. I always end up talking about that. But what about emotions? I don't need to talk about the emotions, because the mind and the emotions, they're married. They get along perfectly, not well. They wish they could get divorced, but they can't, all right? So emotion is just a different vibration rate. If something from underneath the ocean or a lake, a still lake, comes up, what does it do on the surface? It expresses itself. If the emotion comes up, what does it do in the mind? Bubble, bubble, bubble. It expresses itself. If the mind thinks about something that the emotion's got problems with, you have to deal with it, don't you? The way to deal with it is get rid of the stuff you stored in there. Get rid of the stuff you stored in. That's the bottom line. Meditate, fine. Positive thinking, fine. All of these are techniques to work with the fact that you screwed up your mind and that you're being distracted by your mind. Well, you can have a beautiful mind. Really, you can have a beautiful mind. What does a beautiful mind look like? Ready? The world comes in. Why does it come in? Because I have senses, and that's what it's supposed to do. It comes in, it drops into my mind, and my heart opens and says, how can I help? That is your natural state. It's not me and everything else. It's everything else, and how can I serve it? That's what happens when it's empty in there. There's no basis for the personal mind. They're not storing all this personal stuff. There's just openness. You're completely open. The world comes in. The little dog is whimpering. How can I help? The little baby's crying. How can I help? The boss needs something done. How can I help? Nothing's personal. Nothing's preferable. There's no good and bad and right and wrong and this and that. It's just always what it is. It comes in. Even terrible, terrible things come in. How can I help? They don't screw you up. Someone once asked Ramakrishna, an enlightened being, does an enlightened being ever feel anger? I love it. He said, yes, an enlightened being, a realized being, feels anger. But it's like riding on water. What does that mean? It comes in and it passes through. See? It's okay. There's a natural vibration. I should have asked, is there such a thing as anger in the universe? Have you ever experienced it? Is there such a thing as fear, self-consciousness, embarrassment, guilt, shame? Do these things exist? Okay, well, don't try to make them not exist. They exist. They're a vibration rate. The entire electromagnetic spectrum exists, doesn't it? Those are vibrations on the higher spectrum. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't hold them. They pass through. They just pass through. You can handle them. You're not resisting them. Say, I feel such shame that I did that, right? No, I did something. It hurt somebody. I feel this. Oh my God. Wow. I'll never do that again. Healthy, all right? No, I can't handle the guilt. I'm going to do more stuff. Do you understand that? If I get filled with guilt and filled with shame, now I can't interact naturally with people, can I? That's not what they're meant for. They're meant to say, not so good. Oh, it's such a good move. Oh, I see it. That's what the feeling's about. And I handled it. That makes sense to you? You have to let things pass through. If they don't pass through, they make a complete mess in there. And then they build this whole self-concept and opinion and hopes and dreams and preferences and so on. I'm going to close off with my quote of the other day, because I just happen to remember it. I don't read spiritual scripture. I don't read it, right? But if I read something, I tend to remember nice parts. So there was one time I read the Bhagavad Gita, the version that Yogananda liked, the Song Celestial. And Arjuna asked Krishna, if I meet an enlightened being, how will I know him? Walks he, talks he, sits he like any other man? To which Krishna answered, you will not know him like that. He walks, he talks, he sits like any other man. If you would know him as such. In joy he is not overjoyed, in sorrow is not over sorrow. He lets goodness come when it will, and he lets darkness come when it must. He walks as a sojourner, a stranger, in the midst of the qualities of nature. Just as all the rivers and streams of the world pour into the ocean, and the ocean doesn't overflow its bounds, so the world of sense pours into the yogi and leaves him as it found him, at peace, serene, content. Equanimity is yoga. All right? Isn't that beautiful? That's who you are. But you're not empty. You stored all this stuff. And so it can't flow right through, can it? The world of sense pours into you. No, yeah, it pours into you, but it doesn't make it through, does it? It hits all the stuff that you stored in there. Do you understand that? That's the only problem there is. So what do? You start, that's what the new book deals with. Don't start with the big stuff. You can't do that. It's too freaky. No, seriously. It's too scary. You start with the simplest thing in the world. It's hot out. Yeah, that's reality. It's fun. It's hot. I'm sweating. I love it. Okay? The driver in front of me is driving 10 miles an hour below the speed limit. I love it. I'm in a rush. They're not. They have just as much right on the road as I do. I'm sure you think I drive weird. You drive weird too. Okay? And you just sit there and say, I can handle it. Not, it didn't happen. I can handle it. You drive down there and they take a turn. 4 blocks later, they turn off. At least you didn't make a mess of yourself because you couldn't handle the driver in front of you. If you're like me, you make a mess of yourself if you happen to catch every single light on the way into town. How can I catch every light? Okay? That's ridiculous. That did not change anything, did it? It made you a mess. There you are doing it again. Start with these little things. I beg you. People write me from all over the world. I started practicing. It changed my life. I get along with my wife and husband better. Of course you do. You're not sitting there resisting every single thing that happens to you. Start learning to relax and release so that things pass through. And we talked about, right? The things can pass through. Start practicing letting things pass through. And wait till you see what happens. All right, so we dealt with different aspects of your being, and really the word we came up with was respect, and we also came up with appreciation. Are you grateful that you have a mind? It's an amazing thing. Are you grateful you have a heart that can feel love and can feel pain? Are you grateful you have a body that can allow you to experience this amazing world with flowers and things? And right, work on that. Jagradiv.